on July 14th, 2021. Call to order the July meeting of the Ware Conservation Commission. Back in person for the first time in a long time. And we have 4 members tonight. Michael Camacho, myself, Michael is our secretary, myself, Andy Fulton, the chair of the commission, and members Sherry Burdick and Bill Bolton. So that is 4 out of our 7. We have a quorum. Thank you. We also have an agenda that our administrator prepared for us. Thank you, Naomi. And Naomi's present tonight. We also have a guest. So, Haley, why don't you come on up to the podium? And as is our habit, regardless of what the agenda says, we like to have our guests come front and center.
Perfect.
Speak first and
Can you pull that towards you? Yeah, closer. Then you pull the... Yeah, there you go.
so Haley, and bring us up to date on what you emailed about, and I believe we're talking about Fair and Pond area, observations, requests, and all the in-between stuff. So
Yes.
take it away.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm Haley Nace. I'm the stewardship coordinator for the Piscataquag Land Conservancy. And so recently I updated the Fair and Pond Trail Guide. It hadn't been updated since 2013. So this is the updated one.
Thank you.
And just, again, kind of updated them. And so I really am looking for approval to put up number signs like these on the town end of the property that would correlate with the numbers on the map and guide.
And are these found on your website as well? These slides?
Yes, that is the plan. They're not up currently because I didn't want to put them up without actual numbers out on the property yet. I thought that was kind of confusing.
Is that something that we can get for our website?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I don't
Yeah.
think you guys saw her. You were looking down. She has
Oh.
the number that she'd like to put up. The numbers.
Oh, okay.
That's what it would look like. The numbers that are just like 1 digits are a little bit bigger and they're not reflective, but it's the same general gist.
And that would tell you where you are on that map.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So there's 17. There used to be, I think, 15. So I added a couple and moved a couple around that, you know, a tree had fallen into the river or into the pond, so it's no longer there, kind of thing.
And were the Boy Scout descriptions, are those still hanging, or those?
They are. So that's also something I would like to take those down when I put up the new ones.
Okay.
Also, on the first page of it, I don't know if the Ware Conservation Commission has like a logo or anything that they want on that first page. This is like the handout version, but my hope is that it would be mostly digital and in color and stuff like that. The last page is a QR code, so you can scan that and get to the PDF.
And is that QR code going to be at Fair and Pond somewhere, or is that going to be from the website?
So Fair and Pond at the gate, there's really no service. So it would kind of be up to where the town would want to put it, because the start of the property is on town property. So I kind of revert to you guys where it would make the most sense. I think at the pond, at like the beach area, there is more service, so that might be a location to put it. I know on PLC's website we're gonna make a disclaimer like download before you get to property kind of thing. But the hope is to keep it as simple as possible, so if needed we could update it pretty quickly, as well as like the markers as well. They're, you know, pretty easy to install and maintain and all of that.
So we're not trying to have any explanation, physical explanation on the land. This
Right.
would be completely tied into the guide, or whether one is carrying it digitally or printing and carrying around.
Exactly, yeah. I'm hoping to get a little bit better printed version because it's still really small and not super user friendly. But for the time being, at least a digital copy.
What about, I hesitate, but we'll throw it out there anyways. For a while, we had a box at the entrance with some guides in it. What are you finding as far as ability to keep something like that physically intact and be stocked for the occasional folks who might be coming through and not have touch base with the website?
It's pretty limited. I think with the updated markers, we might have a couple more people wondering. But I think if you go out to the property first and you're like, hey, what are these numbers? You'll find the website with either the town website or PLC's website pretty quickly, especially if we have a QR code. And I found that having boxes out there, usually it just gets wet. And so then you have wet
Best case,
paper.
right, and that's a best case scenario.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot, in some sense, it's a lot of maintenance that normally doesn't make a lot of sense.
I was at a state park just last year down in Mass, and what they'd done is they'd taken similar idea here, but they had taken all of these and copied them in regular page size, and they'd laminated them, heavy laminated them, and they had them on a ring, and they were drilled right into a tree, so people could look before they left.
Gotcha.
Don't know if that might be a better, give them, if they don't have a phone with them or something, or they don't have service.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought.
Yeah, and I'm definitely willing to, give the PDF and or other copy to the town if you guys want to laminate and print it. I don't think it's something PLC really has a desire to do, but also half of your property in a sense.
So you, just so I understand, you have a number up there, and then these you'd actually download onto your phone or something?
Yeah, so you'd have that as a guide on
Yep.
your phone.
On your phone, okay.
And then you could go through and look at that.
Yep.
Also, Steve wanted the map to be a geo-referenced map, so you could download it to an app and go along the trail like that, which I have that available as well.
When you say it's geo-referenced, does that mean in that map itself it'll have something you can click on, like the number 1 is the lookout or whatever? What do you mean by geo-referenced?
It means that as you're walking the property, your location on the map would move as you go, and so you'd be able to see, oh, I'm next to 1 or
Gotcha,
something
okay.
like that. We find it's kind of helpful with young children. They like to have the map or know where they are and then be like, oh, there's the number 1. I'm at number 1. I don't know. They seem to like it.
How many are on the town property versus on PLC property?
The town has 1 to 7 and then 13 to 17. So 11, 12?
But it seemed to make good sense to have it cohesive.
Yes, and PLC last week did a little bit of trail work on our side as well. So both trails are marked with yellow now. So that's less confusing because for some reason PLC's was in blue. So now they're both yellow.
As far as a QC code and cluing people into that, if there is a sort of property focus where most everybody would, who's visiting would tend to frequent, that has coverage, it might be a, and it can be done in a way that it survives. You know, it sounds like a decent idea. And that would be the only thing beyond lettering that would, how would that be attached to trees with aluminum nails or something like that, or how do you typically
Yeah,
affix
so
those?
in the past, we've done a kind of lamination, and it holds up for a decent amount of time. I'd say that's probably our best bet with a QR code, in case we do need to change it, versus if you put it on something more permanent, then there's the negative of that you have to be able to edit the QR code as well. So there's lots of different ways to do that, just putting it up on a tree or a mini kiosk kind of thing.
As you're thinking about it, though, that would be a, let's talk about it later sort of thing at
That's kind of
a
my
different phase.
that's kind of my feeling, because at the moment the current trail guide isn't anywhere, and the other than the websites, and the current trail markers are not legible. So so kind of just updating it to a status that it's usable, and then maybe if we find that trail users are going out there and not knowing how to access that, that might be a time where it would be necessary if we're you know, finding a need for it. Or a want, I guess I should say.
And all you need from us is just a, sure, we agree, go ahead.
Yeah, to put up these lovely signs.
Yep.
And then I can send you the digital copy of that so that the town website has it as well.
Right. Makes good sense.
You
Anybody
said-
like to,
Yeah, just one question.
Yeah.
Did you say you could put a, oh, you do have a thing on there for the town?
Oh, yes.
that's a placeholder, yeah,
A
we could go with
placeholder.
Yep.
our town logo potentially, or, I don't know that we have much specific to the commission. But, do you know, now if you have a
I,
policy on using the logo, or a
well, we
digital
actually just went-
copy?
We just went through that.
Yeah.
And yes, your committees are allowed to use it.
Mhm.
You just can't, we had an issue when someone, with no affiliation to the town, tried to use a seal on a Facebook page. And so that it looked like it referenced the town, but it didn't. So we have adopted a policy, but your committees and commissions can use it for their brochures, business cards, websites, as long as you're attached to us, which you are.
Right,
So we
and
can
and
put our
that, that
seal.
is our,
That's our seal, yeah.
our seal, yeah.
I have it in black and white, I have it in color.
So, if we want to entertain a motion, I think that would be well to have that part of the motion, to
I'd entertain a
signify authorization from the commission, if that's,
motion to go ahead with the plan. At least all of the areas that were on the town property showing our seal, which the town would supply you with, I assume.
With the seal. Oh,
With the
for
seal.
the,
Yes.
to put up on the, gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, can do.
and we have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Sherry seconds. Any further thoughts on the matter? Thank you for carving some time out tonight,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you, viewing the whole picture out there, the whole Farren Pond watershed as a whole, and not the pieces that are insignificant to the ecosystem out there. So thank you.
Yes.
With that, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Kelly, I can send it along to you.
Okay.
You want the high resolution one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have a question? We,
Yeah.
That's an area, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Thank
after you
you.
left. That's an area we were looking to clean up, that we're gonna have Jeremy clean up, or look into somebody cleaning up?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's on, as I understand, on Jeremy's to-do list, and that he was going to, if necessary, coordinate with PLC on their place to make sure things tied in okay.
okay. Yeah, last time I was out there, it was a little rough
Yeah.
staying on trail, yeah.
Yeah, I think we spoke about that one. I don't know that it made the minutes of our last quarterly, or whether it was from earlier, but I do recall that Jeremy agreed that there are a couple loose ends to button up out there, and that there's always reason. I think he was working with Benji on a couple things, and thought that there could be a little bit of help on the ground too. So, as follow-up to this, I'll get an email out to Jeremy to see where that's at, and to let him know that we're anticipating guide locations to be rebolded and modified by PLC.
Mike, would you like a,
Oh, I went through one, I gave it to Andy, yep.
Good. Jump back. Everybody okay with the May 12th minutes? If so, can we have a motion to approve or comments on edits? I had a look through them. There's a lot of detail in there, and as best I recall, things are pretty well representative. I
Yeah,
didn't come
that's-
across anything that stood out as, wait a minute, it wasn't so. And hopefully everybody has had a chance to
I
scan
wasn't
through.
at either of those meetings, so I'm gonna just abstain from voting.
Yeah, as long as the only thing I didn't know was if all the numbers were correct, I didn't look at that, but if you said it's good to go, then I'm fine with them.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So we can't vote on that, we don't have a quorum. Bill abstains because
Yeah.
it was, right?
You can still vote. You can
So
have
we-
6 of you, 4 of you can abstain when still have your vote passed. You got people present.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
So it'll
What
still
was-
take, it'll still take a motion and a second from,
Right.
What was the date?
we've got May 12th and June 9th both.
I missed one, but I don't remember which one I missed. I think I missed one of them.
I think you were there on both of those.
It says
I
you were
was?
here both
Yep.
times.
Okay, well, it was the one maybe
I
before.
think it
You
might
maybe
be.
don't remember them, but you were there.
Yeah.
So I'll motion to approve the May 12th, 2021 minutes.
I'll second it.
Great. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye.
No, Bill abstaining. Then we have June 9th.
And I'll motion to approve the June 9th, 2021 minutes.
I'll second.
With a second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstained?
Aye.
One abstained. Thank you. Now we have, perhaps we could say mercifully, nothing new on the agenda from planning board or zoning board. And we have a couple different mail items. It seems like Tebow got sorted out down below Clough Park there with what they're doing, at least as far as the state's concerned. They secured their shoreline impact permit. So if we hear any questions coming around through town, we have some idea what's going on there. And then the next item with Gina and William Stevens, we have quite the opposite from the state. This is a denied. We don't see many of these standard dredge and fill where the folks out at 34 Dudley Brook Road, map 107, lot 3, sent in some paperwork and did not respond to the request for additional information. So that's one. I'm not sure how the state handles those, but it'd be well for us to keep in mind that if it looks like there's activity out on Dudley Brook Road at this location, that perhaps it's not sanctioned by the state environmental authorities, and might behoove us to squawk if something seems to be out of order up there.
So Andy, I can share you, it's
Sure.
probably, during the pandemic, they live in Arizona, so we were back and forth on a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a house up here, so I think part of the timeliness is the papers going back and forth. So they do have a 30-day window that they can appeal if they've now got everything together, and I think you're gonna see that.
Okay.
It had a lot to do with the distance they were, and they had to get all their paperwork together, and I think it was just timing.
So that's positive. That makes it
Yeah, I think it's
makes
going
it
to be
seem like
positive,
it
I just
will-
think
it
they
will
ran out
be,
of time.
the concerns will be addressed,
Mhm.
or at least there's some reason to believe that, which is excellent. Much better than.
Yeah, they've got a lot invested.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for that additional info. And let's see. We also have a recent, what was the date on this one? I think it was June 30th?
June 15th.
June 15th. Again, we don't see many of these, but a letter with a complaint regarding possible wetlands violations. And that is something, has anybody else had a chance to look at that? I've briefly scanned it. But it's not often that we see, this sort of correspondence.
Is that online?
No, I scanned them to you. You probably were busy today.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see anything today.
Yeah, I didn't read that one. What was?
Yeah, that was actually, I scanned them all together, so they ended up in one file that said DES letters. It was the last one,
Okay.
because the others were two-sided, so it took the 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was a single-sided. It appears that somebody has made a complaint. Did you want to see it?
Yeah, could I, because as I was
Yeah, Andy?
sort of you got a copy of that too? Thanks.
Appears like he's got 20 days to reply, but we should have heard, 20 days should have been
Sounded like
July.
Mm-hmm.
DES has 20 days.
All right.
No, I think he has 20 days to correct it,
Down
doesn't
at
he?
Collins Landing condos.
Was
Got
it
it.
David and Sandy?
Oh, we're talking two different things.
Oh,
Are we still talking about the violation?
We're on,
One page before that, Andy, is that other one?
that
One
one
on
jumps
Forest
down here.
Road, right.
Okay. All right, so my look at it, I had sort of transposed them. So this was actually written by Jen Dvorak in the Land Resources Management Program to a property owner requesting a response to concerns that had been placed with the state. So this is firmly in state hands. And that's also why I messed up the dates. Yeah, this was June 15th. So if anybody has knowledge of activity, 62 Forest Road, I'd probably be well to share it with Jen at DES. If not, then we stay interested and keep our eyes open for additional CCs from the state. And then I see, Naomi, the board also gets something like this. Do you know whether the board's considered it at all? Or whether it's, these sort of things ever come before the
No,
of
actually,
Selectmen?
we get a lot of CCs,
That-
because the clerk sends them in my box, and the selectmen get them, and you get them, and so they all end up in my box.
Yeah. But typically, they wouldn't
Not
give much
really.
regard to anything like this,
Sometimes
so.
it starts with us.
Yeah.
Sometimes they call us to complain, and then we refer to DES, because I've got a code enforcement guy for 25 hours a week, so it's tough.
Right. So the concern is dredge and fill a wetland without a permit or authorization. So, stay tuned. And you're not aware of anybody in town noticing or saying anything? Yeah.
Didn't come across my desk.
Yep.
So if you're out and about on 62 Forest Road, you see something, holla.
Yeah, I guess it's time to squawk if,
Well, I think now the DES is back, you probably have a better, maybe follow-up, because when you guys were remote, it probably was tough.
I don't know, land resources, it's a
Okay,
different world than
Okay.
the one I know.
okay,
I'm not sure how their posture has changed over
okay.
the last 16 months or so.
Mike, if
Um,
you're all set,
I-
take that back.
My suspicion, and I don't know this well, but is that there's a lot of these sort of things that come in that are hard to chase down. But it is incumbent upon the department to respond, and usually it's write a letter, and
Yep.
if they hear from other entities like conservation commissions that there's something seriously amiss, then it probably gets a little bit more attention than if they don't hear anything from a town.
Makes sense.
Or, then if it's, hopefully, you know, it's a case of people getting right back to them and saying, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And honestly, I guess there still can be that situation. So, it is, good to know, and, not something that, we as a commission have the, tradition of, sticking our noses into unless, it's a request either from somebody else in town, road agent, zoning, selectman, or, a resident is bringing something, sitting down and saying, this is what I saw, let's look at some pictures, and, you know, that can't be right. Fortunately, most of the damage, if given a chance, will heal itself pretty well. And, you know, and ultimately, yes, Naomi, I do expect that the state will follow up.
Mhm.
And when they have things missing and the pieces don't come up, then they have their next steps.
Because if you look back, you had the same deal with the Tebow one. You got one incomplete, and now you got a finished one. So next time, by the time you meet again, you probably have some more status.
Yeah. So stay up on it best we can.
Mhm.
And then, right, the last one jumps over to, it's not state correspondence, this is an encroachment letter to David and Sandra Hino, on behalf of Collins Landing, basically saying, get your junk off the community property, the association property, which is under easement. So, we have been, as easement holder, I imagine, notified that there is something not quite right, and this is property that we've had Jeremy do some work for us. and I think it's been our boots and eyes on the ground, so I think I will forward this one to him and see whether he's aware of, you know, what's
going on there?
Yeah,
this
is that
looks
is that
like
in
on there.
regards to the winter storage for the?
I don't think so.
This is
My-
different.
My read on it was that it's something different.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell, I don't think it's, I didn't get the impression that it's something, you know, you just moved in 8 months ago and now you're doing this. It sounded like something that's
Been going on?
been going on, so, you know, it would probably be, it'd be good to understand whereabouts on the property this is.
Yeah, I was just gonna pull up the map and see if I could figure out where Chester Drive comes to meet the Collins Landing.
Mm.
Yeah, 7.
I've been there for quite a while.
No, it could be that same piece, if that,
That's what I was wondering.
yeah, it probably is. Chester Drive. Is Chester Drive the one that goes to the ski hill?
I think it
Yes.
is.
It is.
If it is, yeah, that's the only road, that's the first road
After you,
above
yeah.
the, road out to the point.
Mm.
Anybody think of other actions or
Any
concerns that should be,
This is
addressed?
something that Steve had mentioned maybe 2 years ago. And I, at first, was very much against it, but something prodded me. If I understand it right, our conservation land, the town's conservation land, by vote of the town, could actually be reverted out of conservation.
Really?
And where I'm saying that is the attorney's opinion of the water well situation down in South Ware. And something Steve had brought to the table a few times, just hypothetically, was possibly having a different conservancy, and if that better protected the land long-term, I would be very much for that.
Mm.
yeah, that's something I just saw recently. New Boston has undertaken with PLC on a number of their properties.
I was very much against it until I heard that it could fairly easily go away.
Yeah.
Not good. Is it possible to get some information on that for our next meeting?
Well, it's the next to the 19th, I just, you know, I think he was very right in
Bringing that up?
bringing it up,
Mhm.
and if we deem the time to do it, you know, have the time to discuss it or learn it, we might ought to do that.
I'm not exactly sure where I come down on the whole thing.
I'd like
So,
to know more
You know,
about it.
yeah, I can,
Yep.
I can go one direction with it, and then I also think of some of the thoughts my my dad and maybe my granddad had on it, and, you know, there's also this, well, who are we to, you know, say what, you know, the future hundreds, thousands of years, you know, needs will be, but fundamentally, it's, you know, any one of these promises is only as good as a system, as a
Exactly.
culture, the
Yeah.
society that supports
Yep.
it. And if things go uncivil, then all bets are off.
Yep.
And it carries no weight, but,
Mhm.
I think you know, the near future is a clearer, concern, and if the town populace, could be convinced of such, then it might be a solid way forward. And as you share your first thoughts, I think some of the old Yankee sensibilities think it would be pretty silly, but times do change, and activities and sensibilities change with them. So it certainly would take an outside legal arrangement to,
Mhm.
you know, pump the brakes on some of those things.
It sounds
I
like
wonder,
it'd be
I
a
wonder
little
how that would, I don't know how it would shake out. You know, it's publicly held, and any outfit taking the easement has obligations which require resources to meet.
Mhm.
So it becomes a bit of a different sell when we're potentially move from a resources to acquire to, and say, well, we need additional resources to protect.
Yeah, because when we purchase land from people,
And then, so, you know, one case you'd have to come up with the resources in the conservation fund. And the other thing is you'd have to come up with essentially a marketing plan that informs, you know, town voters, town residents of the value of going this direction.
Mhm.
And it's not just could we afford it, it's would the town at large support it.
The blessing, yep,
Yeah.
yep. And maybe if we were better educated on it, we wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah. Definitely a worthwhile discussion, and one where we could learn something from, you know, some of our near neighbors. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, would it be possible maybe from the group in New Boston to have somebody come up and speak?
quite possibly.
Give us their opinion, why they're doing it and looking at things differently?
Yeah.
Everything's different in New Boston.
Andy, do you have a USB on the laptop? No, HDMI?
Yeah.
Because I can show you how this thing works, it's kind of cool. If you have access to it, I can show you the Hino parcel on your laptop. If you can get to the town website, because I can plug in right there, or I can plug in right here. But I can't
Cool.
see behind me to run it, so.
Right. Why?
It is part of the same parcel. It's way down in the farther corner, Hino owns. So here's Collins Landing,
Mhm.
Russell Drive was here. The Hino piece is way down here in the corner.
You can pull it up so we could see it.
Yeah, I can pull it up if you want to pull it up there, and I can plug it in, everybody can see it.
I haven't, this is my personal computer.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
Steve still has a conservation computer.
Okay.
So I haven't even, and I'd have to ask you to get into
Okay.
to the town internet, and I'm not sure that we need to go there tonight.
Okay. It's an
but-
option.
We can look it up ourselves anyway, huh?
I just was the tool,
Yeah,
we did
Mhm.
put that up there for a reason, so.
yeah,
And it's,
that-
the cord's right there,
Yeah,
see right by the door,
pulls out.
oh, that does stretch out,
pulls
okay.
out, and this does too.
So,
This one has a little bit of a snag in it, we gotta fix it, cause it's caught in the
Okay.
bend. But that one there, you can pull out and you can put your laptop on the podium.
That's great.
and now that projects
It's
onto the board?
wireless. Well, I mean, it projects to here, and
Yeah.
here goes to the board.
And does it automatically go to camera if there's a meeting?
No.
All right,
And we
so-
tried doing it, it's just for the people in the room.
Okay,
We tried putting the camera to it, it's too blurry. I think we have to have a better quality camera. Cause we
I
tried
think
putting
there'd
the
be
camera on the
some way
board.
you could just toggle, all right, here I'm showing the
Yeah, but
the
it's,
meeting room,
if
here I'm
you're,
showing the
So-
element that
so like for,
everybody's looking
planning board, if somebody, I can bring up their plan and everybody in the room can see it, and somebody's got, with the red lights and everything else, so you can point from over there and talk.
Yeah.
So it gives you the people in the room and the table versus everybody trying to look at paper.
at. Right,
Like if I had Haley's, we could have thrown that up on the computer, you could have seen it without squinting your eyes.
right,
Just saying, it's a nice tool.
Yeah.
We should use it, we bought it.
okay,
It'll be great during budget season,
mm-hmm,
so.
good to know.
So if we were looking at a plan?
Yep, I
Yeah,
could just plug
yeah.
in over there.
Plan?
Actually, I could plug in here because I don't need to see what's behind me. Because I could, the laptop screen,
You
I can
point.
look at,
yeah.
and then you guys, and then whoever's there, there's two little things there, they can use the red light
Mhm.
and for you guys present. So you can still hear them, even though they're seeing, but I
Right,
could bring it up for them versus the screen share when we did Zoom. That's why we did it.
right, right. When was that installed?
Must be a
I don't
couple
know.
months ago
It's
now.
been a few months.
Yeah.
We used it, Selectmen's meeting, I think I
Yeah,
used it for
we
the first
used
time.
it for, yeah.
I brought the laptop and showed them a bunch of pictures. It was a lot easier
Yeah,
than
it
trying
was
to print them
great.
out.
Yeah. Cool. Good
It's
to know.
usable. We can show you guys how to do it.
Good to know.
So it is that piece, but it's way down in the corner.
Hmm.
Like I said, what you were talking about up here
Right,
with the sand storage,
Yeah, it wasn't there.
this one's way down here.
Okay.
The square's down here. So they probably picked it up on doing the boundary. They
Mhm.
picked up, because it's clearly marked according to this letter. It says the
right,
boundaries are clearly marked.
Yep.
So I think when somebody did the boundaries for the conservation area, picked it up. And now they've hired an attorney.
thank you, that's good to know.
I have one quick thing.
Go ahead.
I heard from Sherry Dutzy about the ARP fund bid that we put in.
Yeah,
So the vote takes place on June 23rd. I got an email on June 18th. The vote takes place on June 23rd. I know we can't get everything, but I'll try to do my best to get something for most everyone. I will request the meeting after July 4th. The commissioners meet every 2 weeks. So from reading that, I think we'll hear back
Something.
kind of soon. I mean, you never know how long it takes, but it's moving forward.
and that's through legislative action in Concord.
Yes, exactly.
Was that part of ARPA?
The ARP, what is it?
American Rescue Plan?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there are some remarkable dollar figures that are being kicked around.
I would make a
Thanks,
motion
Mike.
to adjourn.
I got one more thing. I'm trying a little bit slow here, but trying to do one item that Steve brought to my attention. This Jeremy sent out July 1, and Steve forwarded it right over to me. This is a revision, aware mapping, Forestry Services Agreement revision. And Jeremy says, attached is a revised FSA for the mapping project. All I did was revise the not-to-exceed amount and the total number of hours, as well as the signature date. We agreed on adding an additional $2,000 for a total do-not-exceed amount of $4,000. Please let me know if this will work for you. So we have a change from not to exceed 2,000 with the revision date of July 1 to not to exceed 4,000 if we agree with that. A change from 26 to 52 hours. This is on something that I think we caught this proposal. I think it was back in March. We discussed it. So our options are to pick it up now, with the motion to increase the not to exceed amount on FSA 2021-006FF, so it's from the Town Forest Fund, to increase the hours to essentially double the allowed hours, and with that, the not to exceed price for the work A being create a geodatabase and corresponding layer file for the town with all current GIS data that MCC has. GIS database can be updated annually or as needed. And the first part is putting the data together. And from the data, we'll be able to produce maps once it's assembled, so to speak. And work element B is update the townwide conservation lands map to include all ownership, including the fee-based tracts. Delineate and tabulate both the property boundary and the conserved area. This data ultimately will end up in the geodatabase created in Work A. And as we read here on the last bullet, this project will be carried out to the best of our ability depending on availability and complexity of data until either completed or funds run out. Town will be kept updated on progress. Should an extension of the funds be required, it will be requested in a follow-up. So this is basically saying we're getting into this mapping project, trying to assemble all the data on the town, conserved lands, and fee ownership and easement in a GIS-based platform that will allow us to query and produce maps from it using the program/apps or whatever we have in our possession. And basically they've started the work on it, and as they've started, they're finding out that it is a significant
More challenge.
significant, more significant endeavor than at first blush. So they're asking for additional commitment of town forest account funds to keep the work going. So again, I'll just lay it out. If somebody wants to make a motion on that, we can green light it, or we can say, we'll just hold on that until next meeting with the understanding that it will perhaps slow things down a little bit here during the summer.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna assume that Steve was very much in favor of it.
Correct.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, as a,
I think it'd be foolish to start something and stop, and it's still pretty short money.
it is that.
I would make a motion to go ahead with it.
You have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. Any other thoughts?
What's the FSA number again?
Sure. Pretty. 2021-006FF. And FF is.
Forestry Fund. Yep.
Yes, yep. All right, any other concerns or thoughts on the matter? There being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. That's all in favor. That's what I got, folks. We got that,
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
and we got a second on that?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn 8:15.